Hello, it is me, Pearl, from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned In Pearl, and we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy inside of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment, and if we want to see change, we do need to shift and change the energy within, and hopefully my readings help you to shift into a state where you are no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change, which ironically is the best, most optimal state to be in to actually experience your manifestations in the 3D. We are going to look today at love because it is the Friday love reading. We will draw a card at the end of the reading from the Thoth Tarot, which will have another deeper extended reading, which you can always access if you are a subscriber at passes.com/pearlsprayers. I actually just posted the advice from last week today. Normally I do it on Monday. I just didn't get around to it this week, but it was really helpful. I did make a post about it on YouTube that has a link for you. If you want to use that link, you'll be able to hop over to that reading. And if you decide you do not want to become a subscriber today, you can purchase that extended reading for just $3. So if you are interested in getting deeper healing from last week's reading, that is the best place to find it. But let's take a look at the overall energy of the masculine. You can, of course, associate this energy with another person as long as you are mindful that the only reason this other person is reflecting this energy back to you is because it's coming somehow from within you, and figuring out how the energy is stemming from your own internal state is basically the key to being able to unlock some of the lessons you're needing to learn from this other person. But this person would be leaning more into the masculine energy, or have more an awareness of that energy, or be more comfortable in that energy. And the overall energy for them, and this of course is somebody that's more in the mind, it's the more of the intellect, the analytical side of the brain versus the emotions, the heart, the creativity of the and receptivity of the feminine energy. So overall this week in love, we have a major surprising shift taking place, most likely uncomfortable for this energy. This can be shocking, very shocking, because the Tower card is something that's very sudden usually, and definitely is a surprise to us. It definitely is intended to change something about this person's experience of this connection with you, or your connection with this person. And there is an energy of things really falling apart here, and maybe wanting to cling or hold on to something old and really not being able to, because there was nothing stable about what was happening before, and now it's really gone. And there could be some trouble with letting this go on the one hand. On the other hand, it might actually be very easy for some people to let this go right now, because they do recognize that there was nothing stable here. There was nothing to hold on to. And so it's really not that difficult to let it go. It's just going to you're going to fall somewhere on that spectrum this week. For the feminine energy, we're seeing the Hierophant here. And I'm just hearing renewed commitment to self. The Hierophant is a card about commitment. It's about faith, higher level lessons, tradition, structure. Could be having to do with the structure falling apart. This can have to do with the ending to vows, commitments, marriage. So for some in the collective, this is a week where there are breakups, things falling apart, relationships ending. But it can also just be the way things have been. What has traditionally been going on between you, what you've been seeing constantly repeating over and over again, there's an end to that. And there's this commitment coming from your heart to have faith that something new, something better will be rebuilt in place of the old. So out with the old, in with the new this week for relationships. And there's something about the feminine tuning into some higher level lesson that's allowing her to easily navigate this, fly through this. I literally chose the Crow Tarot for the feminine energy. This is the Dreaming Way Tarot for the masculine, and I'm seeing the feminine just literally fly through these lessons. This is not an issue for her. It's something she's familiar with. She's been here before. There's almost a feeling of safety in the experience itself, which is probably why things needed to change, because being uncomfortable all the time and feeling like that's better than the unknown is like not ideal. So wherever you've been in relationships, however that's felt, completely, totally changing. For some, the Tower and the Hierophant could also indicate like a shocking proposal or offer of marriage or commitment, kind of coming out of left field, coming out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere. It's been built up for a long time with the Tower energy, but now there's finally this like divine intervention that's like, you just need to, make this happen with this person. And I'm getting a sense that like, if it doesn't happen, it won't ever happen. It's got that kind of a like major feeling about it. Underlying the energy for the masculine and feminine, we have the Three of Pentacles in the headspace of the masculine. And this is really giving the awareness that the feminine energy is fed up or frustrated with having to basically build something alone, because this is supposed to be a card of collaboration. This card actually came up in the extended reading that I posted today. So I strongly encourage you to check that reading out, because there might be very important messages for you in that reading. But for sure, the masculine energy has this underlying feeling that the feminine is really fed up with the way that things have been. If there has been a third party dynamic, the feminine energy is just like, you know what, fuck you, go have your third party then. That's like that kind of an energy. If there hasn't been that kind of third party energy, but there's been no willingness to collaborate or create something or build something together, there's this thing of like, really not wanting to work with the masculine energy. Like, and this, remember, is what the masculine is thinking, right? About the feminine energy. Like, it's highly unlikely that she wants to work with me. And and this could be, in fact, why there is this Tower experience happening. It's very uncomfortable to recognize that this person is no longer going to work with you the way that they've worked with you in the past. They're no longer trying to build anything with you. They've kind of given up on that. They recognize that they've done the building themselves. They've done the maintenance themselves, and they're not really interested in doing that anymore. And that can be very, very shocking to somebody who hasn't really been maybe valuing the feelings, the emotions that have been in the connection, and has been really focused more on the external of what's going on. Underlying the energy for the feminine is the Hanged Man. This is looking at something in a new, fresh way. And we see that the overlying energy being tradition, commitment, marriage, we could see feminine energy really having a major transformation in how she looks at those things. No longer needing the same things, no longer having the same, I'm getting for some, marriage doesn't even have an appeal anymore. There is this idea of like, I need to be committed to myself. And if I can't find a partner that's willing to be committed to a connection, to a relationship with me, then I'm going to be committed to the relationship I have with myself. And kind of turning things upside down from where they've been, looking at things in a brand new way. There's also this feeling of things being stuck or paused. Again, that extended reading that I just did might be very useful for you this week. But for sure, this feminine energy is like over it. There's definitely a feeling of her being like, yeah, I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be on the hook. I don't want to be in this rigid structured environment anymore. I really need something new. And that, of course, is causing the masculine energy to feel like he has to provide something new, or he has to actually work with the feminine energy, or there really won't be any movement between them. So what is the masculine thinking about feminine energy this week? We have the Magician card. I just heard from Labyrinth, you have no power over me. And the thing that I'm thinking of right now is that there is this moment for the masculine where he's recognizing that he doesn't have power over the feminine energy anymore. She has all the tools she needs. She has a collaboration with spirit going on. And there used to be this need this perception of a need where she relied on the masculine's energy, or she relied on him to do things or to make things happen. And there's a sense here that she no longer does. I'm getting that because I'm getting a feeling that this energy that's represented in this card, while it is relatively androgynous, it's giving feminine energy for me. I also think the divine masculine may be worried or concerned that the feminine is trying to manipulate him in some way. I do not at all feel that that's what's really going on. It's just something the masculine is concerned about or thinking of, probably because he's experienced that before. And so there's this part of him that's like, is she just trying to manipulate me? Like, what is going on? Either way, he sees this situation of powerlessness where he can't do anything really to affect change in the feminine, primarily because he's left her all alone. In terms of working on the connection, and hasn't really stepped up to the plate to do what he needs to do. The feminine energy, how she sees the masculine, is, it's kind of a mystery to me. I don't really know what's going on with him. There are secrets here. There are things that are hidden. There might be sort of a cosmic connection or a pull between us, but this card is really much more about just not having an obvious illumination of his feelings. There's a sense that there's like a depth of feelings there, but it's like, fucked if I know what those feelings are really indicating, kind of a sense. I do see with the feminine energy, we have 3 major arcana cards. With the masculine energy, we have 2 out of 3. So this is a week for major changes, major developments in the connection, if like we're starting out with all of these major arcana cards right out the gate. The moon is definitely a feeling of the feminine energy being secretive herself also. But just getting a sense of like, I can't figure out this masculine energy. This person who's representing this energy is literally a mystery to me. Like, I can't figure it out. And almost a sense of like, I don't care. Like, I don't need to figure it out. It can remain a mystery for as far as I'm concerned. That's the energy I'm picking up from her. Divine masculine, what is he feeling about the feminine energy? We see the Knight of Wands. So we have this feeling that he wants to rush in and sweep her off her feet, but he's looking at the past instead of looking forward. He's looking at like probably his past relationships, the things that have gone wrong, even in the connection between the two of them that's currently there. And if you're looking towards the past and charging ahead towards the future, the likelihood that you're going to end up creating a big old mess is very high because you're not seeing where you're going. You don't have clarity about the obstacles in front of you, about what might stop you from going in that direction, what could get in your way. You're also bringing the past with you into the future. And so you're basically just recreating the same shit different day. And as we know, the feminine is like not really interested in that. There's this feeling of being like, yeah, I don't want to repeat these patterns. I don't want to be stuck in these cycles. I want to reflect upon what has caused these cycles so that I can end them and not repeat them. But the masculine also maybe feeling that the feminine energy is maybe experiencing other relationships, other connections, that she maybe was love bombing him or something, which wasn't at all going on, but that's just this perception, this distorted perception this masculine has, and the panic that he's feeling from the Tower energy of things falling apart or, what was working before not working anymore. Divine feminine, what are you feeling about the masculine energy? We have the 10 of Wands. So another Wands card. We're matching Wands to Wands. And this is just like, yeah, this is a burden I don't seek to carry anymore. It used to be worth it to me to work really hard, to hold on to those ideas of a monogamous commitment with someone, of building a life together. But yeah, I'm no interest in that anymore. I'm putting that down and flying away because I feel too much heaviness. I feel too burdened by the masculine energy, and I feel an expectation that I was supposed to sort of handle that all myself and take care of that all of myself without any actual expression coming from him at all. All of this has just been like implied and like, oh, just read my mind kind of shit. And the feminine is just like, yeah, no, there's no reason for me to do that. There's plenty of people who are out there in the world that are capable of expressing themselves. And frankly, if they're not, like, that's okay too, because I'm committed to that relationship with myself and I really don't need anybody else. And that's probably what's got you all in a tizzy, because when you felt needed before, that gave you purpose, and you weren't getting your purpose from outside of me or the connection. And now you're sort of floundering, because if your purpose isn't just to be needed by me, and in fact maybe not even wanted by me anymore, like, and to understand that that came from your lack of working together, collaborating, or being a part of this dynamic or this relationship, it's sort of all on you now to figure that out. And I'm leaving that, like, I'm putting that burden down. If you want to pick it up, that's cool, but I don't care if you do. And it's a real indifference I'm picking up. Like, it's not like a bitchy, like, I don't care. It's literally like, yeah, I really don't care. Like, I used to, but it's because I had fear that I couldn't do things myself, or that I couldn't handle things myself, or something like that. And I don't have that now. And so because I don't have that, there's not this pressure for this other person to like do or be or have anything that I can't do or be or have for myself. Divine Masculine, what is he actually saying to the feminine energy? We have the Ace of Pentacles here. This is a single pentacle. It's an offer. It's a seed. It's this wish to plant a seed together, to give you something, a physical material gesture of some kind, to start something in the real world. So the Divine Masculine is saying this week, like, I want to make this offer to you, which is why for some, there could be an element here of this masculine rushing in and finally making magic happen, and finally giving a surprising offer, a proposal, and an engagement, but something to like work together to start something new, start on a new path together. For some. For others, it's just the masculine saying like, I want to make you an offer of some kind, or I want to give you an actual physical expression. This is what he's saying that he wants to do. Divine Feminine, what are you saying to the masculine? We have the Ten of Swords here and the Five of Pentacles. You left me out in the cold. It really hurt a lot. I'm done with that kind of pain. And for some, I'm done. I'm not interested in having a continuance of this feeling of lack with you, a feeling of abandonment, and not having a safe space, and just experiencing a stuck feeling or a stuck energy. And for others, she's saying like, you don't have to be out in the cold anymore. This doesn't have to be over unless you choose for it to be over. It kind of just depends on where you're at in your connection. What is the Divine Masculine actually doing? He might be saying like, I want to make this offer. I want to start something with you. But what is he actually doing? We have the King of Cups. So what he's actually doing is skimming the surface of his emotions, not expressing them. The King of Cups is someone who is very masterful, but masterful in that he has very deep feelings, but he doesn't show them so that he doesn't cause, some kind of turmoil of some sort. So he just kind of coasts on those feelings. So yeah, again, we're here with like, I want to be with you. But I'm not about to show you the depths of my feelings. I don't want to, cause too much excitement or disappointment or whatever it is he fears will come from fully expressing his emotions. So there's a bit of an empty promise that I'm getting from this part of his reading, because we have this strange pentacle just floating in the air. There's nothing to hold this down. To bring this down to earth. There's nothing to ground this. It's like a coin toss, and we don't know what side it's going to land on. And the masculine energy is not actually doing anything to clarify that, because we would need to hear an expression of those deeply held feelings if we were going to be able to make a choice or a decision about any kind of an offer. And he's not giving that currently. What is the feminine doing this week? Moving on in the Chariot energy. This is just surrendering to the flow of life, which is carrying her in a new direction. We see that there is a peacefulness here with a laurel wreath. So there is a peaceful acceptance. There is a feeling of balancing of the head and the heart going on for her. Like, she's not fighting against herself. She's not trying to fight the movement or the motion of the Chariot. This is just like, yeah, I'm moving in another direction. Because that repetitive pattern that we're seeing with the Hierophant, what has happened traditionally, is just no longer satisfying to me. So I'm like moving on. And surrendering my ego. My ego is not driving anymore. And when my ego is not driving, that means it's not keeping me stuck in old patterns. I'm not going to be, it's not, there's not like a fear that I'm going to lose someone or something or some part of myself that would hold me in thrall to this dynamic anymore. It's not even interesting. I could care less is something that is coming up for the feminine. So what will bring more harmony to the divine masculine's reading? The King of Swords. Okay, this is somebody that has a plan and a strategy and actually follows through, actually implements, takes the action needed to make something happen. This isn't somebody who's just talking about talking, they're talking. It's somebody who is able to detach themselves from their fear or anxiety about what will happen and just go and do what needs to be done and say what needs to be said. And somebody who is telling the truth and being in their integrity and laying it all out on the table. This is not somebody who's going to hide their feelings. They might even be a bit detached from the feelings in order to just sort of stoically say what needs to be said. But this is the kind of energy the masculine needs to bring. Instead of just leaning into the feelings without expressing them, he needs to actually talk about the feelings that he has. The King of Swords is not somebody that doesn't have feelings. The King of Swords is somebody who might intellectualize their feelings, but they're absolutely able to communicate them. And he needs to do that. Divine Feminine, what will create more harmony for your reading this week? The Ace of Pentacles that the Divine Masculine was offering has popped up here, so we do have a bit of synchronicity in this reading. Not much. I do feel like these two are on slightly different pages right now. I think that the Divine Masculine has still a lot of illusions, and the Divine Feminine has kind of broken through hers, and that's why there's a little bit of disconnect between them. But we see here the Ace of Pentacles coming up for both of them. And then we have the Sun card, which is again another reminder to me that you should really take a look at that extended reading that I did, because that featured the Sun card. We answered a question pertaining specifically to this card. And it may have something to do with creating more balance for feminine energy this week, so you might benefit from that reading. But the Sun card is about enlightenment, and it's about play. It's about the inner child. And I always see this, even though this is a horse, I always see this as the snow melting. So allowing the sun to warm your heart and melt away some of the cold that has inevitably accrued, because over time you can only like take so much before you're, you know, just sort of like at the limit of human compassion. And the Ace of Pentacles is about that seed being planted, and the sun is of course going to grow the seed. So the warmth that you have will help that pentacle that the divine masculine is saying that he wants to give you. It will help it to actually grow and be received. Be happy with whatever gesture is coming through here. So divine feminine, there may have been this disappointment with whatever you've received from the masculine energy in the past, which has caused you to doubt or feel that the whatever offer he might make now is just not going to cut it, and to be overly critical, hypercritical of what the masculine is doing and how they're doing it. And so if you want more harmony, you really do have to be happy with what you do receive from this masculine, no matter how small. If it just seems like it's, you know, it's only just getting things started and it's not really like that end game that you desire, and it's like, okay, well, you have to start somewhere. So be happy with whatever gesture that you receive. That's going to create more harmony between you. Now, should you be content with minuscule gestures that don't mount to anything and just return to your state where you're carrying the burden of the relationship? Absolutely not. You should definitely maintain the lessons that you've learned through this Hierophant energy here and not accept less than what you deserve. But being happy with a gesture and accepting less than you deserve is two different things. You can be happy that someone has made a gesture. You can be happy that someone has made a change. You can feel warmth towards them about their decision to approach you. But you don't have to accept it as a bare minimum. You could say, I'm happy with this, and I still would like to see X, Y, and Z. And when we can have X, Y, and Z, then I'll be even happier to consider whatever it is you're bringing towards me at this time. So what is the actual happiness potential between masculine and feminine this week? Well, here's another bit of synchronicity. We have the Five of Pentacles for the masculine and the Page of Pentacles. So now we've had the Five of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles twice. And now we have the Page. And the Page is somebody who considers something. So what I just said about considering something. The thing that I'm feeling is that when we have the Five of Pentacles, which is not a great energy, this is not a great energy. This is abandonment, rejection, wounds, feeling left out in the cold, beggarly energy, not great. The Page of Pentacles is a fresh start. It's a playful energy. It's taking that Ace of Pentacles and like considering it very strongly. When we have the two together, we get the Six of Pentacles, which is all about reciprocity. It is about giving and receiving in a fair and equitable way. Receiving a return of investment on the time that you have put in. So the happiness potential resides in the masculine's ability to recognize the position he put the feminine in, which she told him about right here, and to make up for it by offering her that pentacle he's holding onto. So basically, if he can put his money where his mouth is, there is the potential for the two to become happy. If he continues to focus on the distance, the lack, the potential for abandonment, rejection, etc., there will be a continued level of immaturity in the connection that won't really help it to grow very quickly. It will continue to either fall apart completely with the Tower energy, or stagnate in this place where it's like almost never being initiated or never starting up. So that's where we're at here. What would the divine masculine say to the divine feminine right now? Expectation. Number 32. So this would be what he would say. I have realized that expectation is the root of all heartbreak. Expecting others to perform a certain way so that I can be comfortable or happy is a form of bondage. My demands hold others hostage and imprison my own joy. Nothing and no one can release me from my prison but myself. My well-being, satisfaction, peace, and bliss are solidly up to me. That doesn't mean I can't hold others accountable for the mutual agreements both of us make. But it does mean that I can't expect others to behave in any particular way just to make me happy. Happiness is an inside job. If I want to live with its splendors, I must keep the focus inside. Wow, that's a lot of progress actually for the masculine. And also this is something that you would basically be saying to your heart, right? Like your head would be saying this to your heart. Divine feminine, what advice would you give to the divine masculine? This is the keeper of hope. Look at that bird flying free. We had birds in her reading and it's here flying out of the cage. This would be number 7, which is also the Chariot card, which we saw come up for her in what she's actually doing. This is what the feminine would say. Divine masculine, all is not lost. No matter how grim that box of darkness is that you're staring down into right now, there is hope at the bottom of that box. No one can take it from us. It is the spring green of our hearts, always reaching toward the light of photosynthesis. Change will come and growth too. No feeling is ever final. Keep going or don't. Take a rest, put on your PJs, and curl up with a good book. Just know this. Hope lives at the bottom of every breath. You can't ever really get rid of it. So let this moment pass, and that one too. And when you're ready, reach for the keeper of hope. She is nearby, and she is reaching back. All right. That is not what I would have said to my person, but apparently that's what my heart would say. Abandon ye all hope, all ye who enter here is like where I would be at this point. Oh my gosh. So funny. Okay. So your advice from the Moonology deck is to show the world the real you, the full moon in Aquarius. Hang on. I want to plug my laptop in. So it's getting low here. And let me grab this card. Show the world the real you. 88. This card brings the message from the cosmos that you need to detach a little from whatever situation you're asking about. Someone might be keeping you at arm's length now, but it's no bad thing. It's important for you to allow life to unfold and progress, even if change seems like a frightening prospect. If you've been holding yourself back from showing the world the real you, this card reminds you that your unique characteristics are what make you special. In a relationship, are you being too aloof or detached? Go ahead and be yourself in whatever is coming up for you. To attune to the moon, be aware of your feelings, but also be prepared to move on. The additional meanings for this card include don't lose the beauty and romance of life. You are too much in your head. Get into your heart. A friend needs you. Be there for them. A situation is going to take a very unexpected turn. I think that's probably an important meaning from this card. The teaching is every full moon is a time to release and let go, but the addition of Aquarian energy to the mix triples that message. Aquarius is the opposite of clingy, and pulling this card at any time suggests either you need to let go or something or someone is thinking they are the ones who need to let go, perhaps of you. What needs to go? What is the right thing to do? Whatever happens next could be highly unconventional or unexpected. Definitely watch that extended reading. Like 100,000% watch that extended reading. All right. And so going forward for this next week, look at that. We have the Knight of Discs in reverse, which is technically the King of Discs in this deck. This is the Thoth Tarot. And I'm going to use thothreadings.com to bring a little more insight to this energy, and it will generate the questions for next week's extended reading. So let's go to the Knight of Discs. We have a reversal on this one today, and I feel like this has come out for us before, to be honest with you. The Knight of Discs represents the fire in the element of earth, and with earth, suppressing fire. The materialism is the dominant aspect in this card, showing the Knight as a complex person of amazing strength, representing earth in its function as provider of life. The Knight of Discs is industrious and patient, steady and reliable, clever in material matters. He is the one working without asking much, concentrating on his tasks without getting distracted by mind games or high-flying ideas. With more earth than fire and lacking the qualities of air, the King of Discs is more dedicated to making but to thinking. His success results from instinct and pragmatism rather than from intellect or knowledge. Further, the King of Discs lacks the emotional depth of water. Therefore, he can have difficulties to understand or relate to others. He can be self-centered and sullen, intolerant, and unable to put any interest in anything outside his own deeds and doings. When this card appears in a tarot reading, you are working methodically towards your goals. You have a plan in place and are sticking to your schedule to get the job done. You may not work particularly quickly, but you are consistent, dedicated, and committed to your goal. Put one foot in front of the other and finish the job. This card also asks you to continue doing what you are doing, plodding along and making gradual progress. No need to change your approach. Go with the flow. Stick to your usual routines, and over time, you will reach your goals. At the darkest side, the Knight of Discs can turn stubborn and even stupid, clumsy and jealous on anyone that seems higher than himself, arousing over tidbits and butting in everything yet cowardice and unwilling to change himself. In divination, the Knight of Discs often represents a person having influence over your financial situation, like your boss or your bank manager. At his deepest level, this Knight is about material and physical resources and how we handle them. He has a lot to teach us about good management and attention to detail. So on a day which he rules, spend a little time going over your finances and your overall material position. Look at all the stuff you've had in that box at the back of the cupboard for all this time. Go through your insurance policies and other important financial documents. At the very least, you'll know where they all are next time you need them. You could also discover a shortfall or something you've overlooked, and at best, you could stumble across something important and rewarding. If all your paperwork is already in order, then spend some time assessing the ways in which you spend your money and decide whether it's going the way you want it to. Often you'll get a fresh perspective on something that you had taken for granted before. Now, I definitely remember that we got this card because when we got this card last time, I actually did that, and sitting behind me is the box of paperwork that I went through and all of the random paperwork that I went through. And I actually have a new file box that my mom gave to me that was my uncle's that have been meaning to take all this paperwork and put it into that one. And so now I know that that's what I'm going to do based on the energy of this card. But the reversal is important for us to note today because this came up reversed. First, let me tell you that the drive for this card is a strive striving for material success and wealth. The light of this card is clever in material matters, patient and industrious, reliable, strong, and enduring. And the shadow is stubbornness, dullness, jealousy, grasping, and stagnant energy. Reverse, and this is important, points to a journey of self-development or improvement in which a routine will support your success. For example, you may create a healthy eating plan or exercise schedule for yourself to help you become more fit and healthy. You may also need to pay more attention to the practical matters in your life that you have ignored recently. Mundane activities such as home upkeep, money matters, business relationships, and moving forward in your career have been left by the wayside as you focus on more exciting or important opportunities. The keywords of this card are fiery aspect of the earth, doctor, healer, financial investment, harvest, work, and fatigue. The advice is it's time to put your ability to work at the service of something. There are difficult tasks ahead of you that require you to use all your strength. If you make the necessary efforts, the harvest will reward you richly. The question is, are there any tasks in my life that I want to avoid? So we will answer that question again in the extended reading that I will do hopefully on Monday, where I will include this card and the card from the general energy reading that I will do on Sunday. The suggestion is, whenever things seem too worrying to you, focus on the positive results of your actions for you and others. Your inner learning and growth process is the most important result, more important than what you do with your work. The revelation is, with every task I encounter, I also get the energy I need to solve it. And the affirmation is, effort brings reward. Okay, so that is my advice for you this week for the love or relationships or connections you have. If you're welcoming in new love, these are some of the things that you need to work on within yourself to open up to that new fulfilling love that you're seeking. If it's with an existing person, these are some of the things that you need to shift inside of yourself to see change happen in that connection. Thanks so much for being here with me. If you're interested in booking a session with me or receiving a reading, check that link, tunedintarot.com. You will see video recorded reading option. It's just called tarot reading. There's also the yes/no tarot reading, which is only one yes or no question, whereas the video reading is for multiple questions or to do one of my spreads that you might know about. Tell Me Everything Love reading or a general love reading. There is also the obstacles removed or the release and rebuild spreads. If you're curious about what those are, I highly recommend that you scroll through all of the hundreds of hours of readings I have here on YouTube, both under the video tab, and don't forget to click the live tab because there's lots and lots of content under that live tab. So if you need advice, please go check out those resources. The Intuitive Guidance Call Package is currently on sale. You get 2 calls for the price of 1. So when you book a session with me, you get 1 hour session, and within 30 days of that first session, you have the option to complete a second session. So that's 2 calls in 1 month. You can also take 30% off when you use the code PRAYER, all capital letters, PRAYER 30. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you on Sunday. Have a good weekend.